Hi, my name is Carolina Taylor, and I am doing a presentation on the Union of Pan-Asian Communities, specifically their Children's Mental Health Program. Before 1974, there was no single Asian group that was large enough or vocal enough to advocate for basic services that were needed by its impoverished, its ill, elderly, and those with limited English-speaking abilities. Beverly Yip and 6 leaders of the Asian and Pacific Islander community came together and through their hard work earned a grant from the city of San Diego. With that grant, they established a cultural adjustment and language assistant program so that patients could access community resources. As refugees from Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia began arriving in San Diego, many needed health, behavioral health, educational, and housing needs. To address those needs, UPAC came together and developed a culturally and linguistic appropriate programs. Those became the only bilingual, bicultural, multi-service agency for San Diego's Asian population. Today, under the current president and CEO, Margaret Iwanaga Penrose, they offer programs and services to all underserved and diverse populations. They offer these services in over 30 languages and across 15 locations in San Diego. And a quote on the website says, "We not only offer assistance to our most vulnerable community members, but we unite people across cultures." And I think that means that they are for the community and to serve us all. Within UPAC, there are 2 programs that focus on children and adolescents' mental health. The Children's Mental Health, CMH, is a mental health counseling for youth and their caregivers, and they promote positive emotional and behavioral health. And that's more of just a general program for all. Their other program is a multicultural community counseling, and that is a culturally sensitive mental health counseling for the Asian Pacific Islander and Latinx youth. CMH is an outpatient children and adolescent mental health program. This was designed to promote positive and emotional and behavioral health. And they do this through culturally responsive and comprehensive treatment services. At CMH, they believe that it takes a village to foster the health of a child. So they work as a team with the caregivers and the youth, meeting the specific needs of the individual and their family. Most clients are children and transitional age youth between the ages of 5 and 20, and many have challenges in their school and their home or community. At CMH, they offer a sliding scale, but they also take medical insurance. So the clinicians at UPAC, specifically CMH, are given the freedom to choose the modalities that they find appropriate for each client. And however, there are some theories that were commonly used. SFBT, for example, was common, but also narrative and attachment. And they also offer a lot of services. Specifically, they can evaluate for and manage for medication. They do types of different behavioral therapy or talk therapy. And they also collaborate with the family and the school and whatever other relevant support the children need. This is a success story that I found on their website. If you'd like to read it, you can go ahead and pause now. Otherwise, I'll just continue. So their contribution to society is, I think, pretty big, as they created the first and only, at the time, bilingual, bicultural, multi-service agency for the Asian population. And they focus their programs and services now towards all populations that are underserved and diverse. They also engage in the community, not only by offering health services or behavioral health services, but they also create programs that focus on business development and other cultural, and they also offer cultural competency education. This helps to strengthen the community to help achieve self-sufficiency. I think that this type of agency helps to heal trauma that comes from racism and stereotypes, and they feel heard by the people that they can relate to. For me specifically, I am a first generation American citizen, and both my parents were immigrants. I have firsthand experience of what it's like to be to navigate a world where people, that world that wasn't made for you specifically. My dad was born in the Philippines and he immigrated to the US when he was 14. He told me about many barriers that he faced around language and culture and just racism. I think that he would have benefited from a program like this. And I personally, I want to help bridge that gap for whatever youth I can. And I feel that I can be relatable because of my background and my own culture. So community resources. The group that I like to work with or population are those who suffer from PMDD. I know that at my practicum, I probably won't be dealing with that specifically. However, I do feel that when working with youth, I will encounter a lot of women or young women, or even transgender youth, those that were born a woman but now have transitioned to male. If they still associate with their female body, if they have PMDD, will have symptoms. So I decided to add a couple of different types of resources, not necessarily in the community because there aren't really any PMDD specific resources, but I did find some women's shelters in San Diego. I also found some support in social groups. So this first website, the International Association for Premenstrual Disorders, is a great website. It's a great resource for all things related to premenstrual disorders. From there are Facebook groups. There are groups for teens, which I posted at the top, and then also for adults. And then there are anonymous groups from Inspire, and it's also a support group. And I also added some symptom trackers because oftentimes you have to track your period before you can be diagnosed. And so I added both a paper tracker and a website. And then I also found 2 Zoom groups. One of them is for aromantic and asexual. And so oftentimes with PMDD, there is a change in libido. And I think that for youth and really for adults too, going somewhere where other people can identify with that, I think is helpful. And also a woman's coming out group. It's for all women who are straight, lesbian, bi, transgender. Question A doesn't really matter, but it's just there to go and support other women. And I think that with PMDD, you definitely need to build a community and you need to support other women who are suffering like you. So some barriers to getting help when you have this disorder. One of it is that many disorders can mimic PMDD. So endometriosis and thyroid disorders and adrenal system disorders can all have symptoms that are similar. There are also medical disorders that demonstrate a premenstrual increase in symptoms. Those like migraines and asthma and epilepsy tend to show more symptoms during that premenstrual phase. The other thing is that there is no single option that works for PMDD. There are things that you can do to make it better, but most have to either change their diet and nutrition or go on birth control. SSRIs are also given, although sometimes what happens is that PMDD can be often misdiagnosed with bipolar. So they are given mood stabilizers, and it does not work for PMDD. And they are also not approved for PMDD. Another thing is that there is a lack of informed providers, doctors who know a lot or at least are well versed in PMDD. It's really challenging to find a healthcare provider. And it's really not uncommon for somebody to have to go to several doctors before you find the right one. A big thing about PMDD is self-advocating. You have to be able to self-advocate. Like I said, it's not uncommon for doctors not to know about PMDD or know very little. And so you have to go in with yourself and be familiar with evidence-based research and go to these appointments with your treatment plans and all of the tracking information so that you have an advantage to with the doctors. It's also recommended to take somebody with you, a husband, a girlfriend, somebody who supports you so that you can advocate for yourself if needed. And these are my references.